Well, you know it's another boring, lazy-ass Monday Night Raw when the only highlight, the only thing people are talking about is one of the talents announcing they're pregnant. No, really, that's the only thing being talked about from this Monday Night Raw 8/18/25. You mean to tell BC that Penta versus Xavier Woods wasn't exhilarating? Balor and Mickey D's versus How to Train Your Dragon Ball Z Lee and a Mr. Iguana Man. That didn't capture your imagination? You mean to tell me that Becky Lynch versus Nattie for the 38th time? That wasn't entertaining for you? But the best part in this is that Naomi stayed in character. Right, Naomi was giving Adam Pearce Das Boot after this announcement. Naomi talking about how she's going to now extend the bloodline. Naomi was next level, man, with that diabolical laugh. She stayed in character. That was badass. That was much needed. Of course, WWE could never let something go off good. They have to confuse the audience. So they took Naomi announcing this in character, and instead, they had to put the real twist on it. They want you to know how fake it all is. They want you to know how scripted, how rehearsed. These are all just characters. So you know what the real spotlight in all this was? The real star in this? Stephanie McMahon somehow. They tried to plug Stephanie's podcast. So you have Naomi in character, and she's crushing it. Such an important real-life announcement, but protecting the character. What a concept. This was back in the day, they'd be getting written off TV. She'd be ran over by Steve Austin's monster truck. There would be no sentimental announcement. Just be written off TV. You find out maybe sometime while she's out or when she comes back, hey, she had a kid. We didn't even know. But she stayed in character, so WWE has to confuse you. Hold on. This is too good. Naomi's still in character. What if we had Trinity Fatu sitting on the sofa with Jim, and they'll talk to Stephanie for the podcast, and we'll play it on Raw. We'll show her in tears and all sentimental, and they're all celebrating with Stephanie, and then we'll cut to the ring, and then we'll have Trinity in character. Naomi will then be announcing it. So we're seeing Trinity announce it on the Titantron to Stephanie to try to get Stephanie's podcast some clicks. And then we cut to the ring, and now Naomi is trying to be in character. You couldn't make this up if you tried. This is how stupid Hunter Hearst Helmsley's WWE is. Which is it? Which is it? You want her just to be out of character and announce this for the podcast, then just make it a full 10-minute segment and play the damn Stephanie podcast on Raw. If you want to try to put her in character, put her in character. There's a third option. You could have just written her off TV and we don't even have to talk about the pregnancy. Keep the characters on the show, characters on the show. I can't think of any movie that I've ever watched or any television show where they stop the movie in the middle of the movie. Tom Cruise stops right in the middle of Mission Impossible and he tells everybody, it was at this time, week 3, where I actually sprained my ankle. So we're going to take a 5-minute hiatus. I'm just going to show you guys my rehab process and then we're going to get back to the movie. Could you imagine being in a theater? You're into the movie and all of a sudden you got to listen to this real life crap? Nobody cares while we're watching the movie if you sprained your ankle. Nobody wants to take 5 minutes to watch your rehab process and then we can resume the movie. WWE is getting a little too overboard. with making the real-life personas more over, more front and center, more part of the show than the actual characters. Great moment for them. You want to announce it? Cool. What I would ask is that you keep her in character. They did that. But of course they had to ruin it. Let's show the Stephanie clip. And then we'll put her in character. Well, what? I could not imagine being a kid growing up watching WWE today. I couldn't imagine. You don't know what to believe. You don't know what to think. They're working triple time to confuse you. No wonder these kids are showing up just ready to sing along with Seth and yeet with Jason Yeeterman. No wonder. Did you see the show? Did you see what Jay's doing now? He's not just picking up kids and patting them on the head. Now he's giving them the microphone so they can yeet. That's it. These kids don't even care, probably. Now they're just going to hope the mic gets in front of their face so they can go, yeet, yeet. Unreal, man, is right. The new name for that new show that shows you how all the tricks are done, right? All the magic is exposed in pro wrestling, at least for WWE. Oh, it's very unreal, all right. I could not believe I was watching two different versions of the announcement. Out of character and in character. What are we doing? But the worst part is that's the only thing people are talking about the next day. That's it. There's nothing on the show. And I don't blame anybody for not talking about anything else. There's nothing else. The finish of the show was just Roman coming. Everybody came out. LA Knight, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Bronson Reed, Seth Rollins. During the Bron Breakker Jey Uso matchup, their 16th. A rematch of a rematch of a rematch of a rematch of a rematch. Extreme Rules, they called it, because they were in Philadelphia. You know what that means? You know what was used? Steel chairs, couple of Slim Jim tables, and trash cans. That was it. That's extreme? That's about as extreme as buying the Express Pass at Universal Studios. That's extreme. And I want to know what happened to LA Knight, right? CM Punk came off to fend off Seth Rollins. LA Knight came off to fend off Bronson Reed. And then Roman came out. But by that point, Roman's the odd man out because Jey Uso is fending off Bron Breakker. LA Knight's fending off Bronson Reed. And CM Punk is fending off Rollins. So right now, the baby faces are overrunning the heels. That's why this is not working. Many reasons why this new doofus faction, the vision of doofuses, the vision of dumbasses. That's why this is not working. Many reasons. One of them is there's too many faces. There's so many they had to just boot Samuel Zayn over to SmackDown. But I think that's because they plucked LA Knight from SmackDown, because they have nothing for LA Knight. He's just supposed to be the fall guy in Paris. But what I want to know is what happened to LA Knight. Every face was fending off their heel. Roman comes out. All of a sudden, Bronson Reed is there. What the heck happened to LA Knight? That's what I mean. There's no thought behind this supposed creative. Send LA Knight out. And then have him just fade away into the mist. Everybody will forget about him in 60 seconds. And Bronson will be ready for Roman, because that's the match they teased for Paris to end the show. Raw, 8/18/25. Let's just get into it. I will show you how boring, how bad this show truly is. Not just my thoughts on it, my opinions on it. I'm going to take you segment through segment, and it's not going to take long. Fortunately and unfortunately. Unfortunately, because I would love to talk for an extended amount of time about pro wrestling, about this show, but I can't. Nothing is happening on these shows. I've never seen it this bad, and I've seen the last several years of Vince McMahon in creative. I thought you could not get lower than that. This is so bad. There's not even direction. It's soulless, it's lifeless, it's boring, it's lazy, it's unacceptable, it's unwatchable. So let's talk about it. WWE RAW 8/18/25. We kick off. The Vision of Dumbasses starts this show. Philadelphia starts singing because it's Jason Uso. He's a heel, but it's what it is. Comes out in a flower garden chi-chi. You can't even blame Becky Lynch's closet for this. Because I don't know where you would get an outfit like that, and that's probably for the best. But everybody's singing along with the heels because the music is catchy. So the kids are singing, and the parents that they dragged along who paid for the ticket, they're gonna sing. The casuals, they just realized how much money they paid to be at this shit show, so they're gonna start singing. But then here's the problem, right? Jay Yeeterman's music then hits. Sure enough, Yeeterman is dancing through the crowd, and everybody stops singing with Seth so they can yeet with Yeeterman. Bipolar wouldn't even begin to describe what the WWE has done to their fan base. And most of these fans don't even question what they're doing. They're singing with the heels. They're yeeting with the they're just here for a good time, basically. Basically, they're just here for a good time. It doesn't matter anymore. Helmsley doesn't care about faces and heels. Why should the crowd? They just want to have fun, basically, and get away for a few hours. So then they just start yeeting with Yeeterman, man. Fans are stuck between sing along with Seth and yeeting with Yeeterman, and we don't have to wait for ESPN because we're already at Disney. This is already Disney. Listen, when Seth is out there and they're playing, everybody's a conductor and they're singing, and then watch when Yeeterman comes out. And he tells the kids to come to the aisleway so they can dance with him. You see him, he's motioning. Because that's what Helmsley is telling him to do. When you're going down there, find all the kids and start yeeting with them, man. It's going to be a huge thing with all the kids. You know, back in the day, Bret Hart would put a pair of glasses on a kid's don't piece and call it a day. Hulk Hogan would tell him to take vitamins and say prayers, drink some milk, who knows, call it a day. But 10 minutes of dancing like you're at a Chuck E. Cheese. And now there's a new thing. Did you see what Jay does now? Now he puts the microphone in front of the face of a bunch of these kids so they can yeet. Now he gives a live mic to a bunch of toddlers who are screaming yeet into the microphone. Now, picture how ear-piercing that is. Toddlers screaming yeet. So all you're hearing when he puts the mic up to all these kids, all you hear is yeet, yeet, yeeters, yeets, yeet, 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 yeet. They're all trying to scream it. If you didn't have to mute your TV before, you absolutely have to mute it now. If this is the new thing they're going to start doing, I cannot tell you how repulsive, how nauseating this Jey Uso thing has been. I can't tell you. I can't tell you. If this dude announced he's taking a month-long vacation, we should all chip in to make sure that it's 2 months. That's great. Hey, man, it's all geared to kids. I understand, right? This whole gimmick is for kids. That is clear. Helmsley has designed it for that. That's clear. That's cool, man. That's what it is. Why he's in the main event, I'll never understand. Merchandise sales never topped more than 6%, and he was never number one. The needle never moved. In fact, it only went backwards when he was champion and during this whole push. So the same results they're getting right now, they could have done if they just had him in the mid-card or in a tag team with Jim Uso, which is one of the best tag teams in the world, and then Jim Uso can help Yeet with him. But for some reason, he had to be plucked right into the Royal Rumble victory and tapping out Gunther in 8 seconds and winning the World Championship, and the experiment has more than failed. More than failed. Helmsley was even forced to realize that when he took the title off of him after just 2 months. Geared for kids, that's fine. What about all the adults watching, man? Especially if you're not in the arena and there is no vibe. What are we all witnessing every Monday night? This is beyond tiresome. And now we have to listen to a bunch of kids scream into the microphone every month. Yeet! Yeet! Yeeters! Somehow this leads to Yeeterman versus unpredictable badass Bron Breakker. They're still calling him that. I'm not even kidding. They call Bronson Reed the Awzilla. I guess that's like Godzilla. And then he's not just a badass. It's bad enough you have to have him call himself badass. That's like he has a t-shirt now that says he's a badass Bron Breakker. It's bad enough. But he's an unpredictable badass. Right, that's one of the wildest badasses you're going to encounter, right? Because we all know those predictable badasses. But when you come across an unpredictable badass in the wild, whoa! Unpredictable things could happen. Does this company not understand that that's the opposite of cool? Especially if they're marketing to kids these days, right? What kid is going to school and talking about all their favorite heroes? What kid is going, yeah, my favorites are Batman, Superman, and Unpredictable Badass? This was exhausting. This was 21 minutes, and it was exhausting. And it was just to set up an Extreme Rules match for later in the night. Unpredictable Badass Breakker versus Jason Yeeterman. And because it's Philadelphia, it's going to be Extreme Rules. And I'll give you a little heads up. All that meant was some trash cans, some Slim Jim tables, and some steel chairs. This was exhausting. Paul Heyman tried to save it. Paul Heyman was on the mic. And because it's Philadelphia, he was making references to even himself, Paul E., in reference to Paul E. Dangerously. He referenced Sandman, Sabu, Van Dam. He tried, man, a bunch of ECW references, but this was 21 minutes of can we please get on to something that is relevant, something that is fun, something that'll give us a pulse. And then it dawns on you, it's most likely just getting worse after the first segment somehow. First matchup of the night was Iyo Sky pinning Raquel Rodriguez via her over-the-moonsault finisher. This was actually a good match, no complaints. I feel they worked well together. There were several times where it could have been a big botch or it could have went off the rails, and somehow it was just saved. So I know our first instinct is to just heap praise onto Iyo. But I also got to give some credit over to Raquel Rodriguez because it does take two to tango, and she really held her own in this matchup. So I know this was simplistic in the middle of a Monday Night Raw, nothing on the line or anything like that. But for Raquel, in her career thus far, I think she can put this match with Iyo as one of her best. Post-match, Roxy jumps in. So, of course, this is your brutality. Yes, brutality is every time that music hits, and we got to see Rhea Ripley run down there and do absolutely nothing for the 118th time this year. Here comes Rhea Ripley. Looks like she just like ran out of Victoria's Secret. I don't know what she was wearing, but it is what it is. But she left the Hot Topic at the mall, jumped into Victoria's Secret, found out that Iyo was getting jumped by Roxy and Raquel. Probably ran off with the tag still on. But there's Rhea Ripley helping out Iyo. Is this fun for you guys, man? If so, cool. If this is exhilarating, man, what Rhea Ripley's been doing all year. Just running in to try to save people or chase off Roxy or Raquel Rodriguez or Liv Morgan every week. Cry her way into a triple threat, always be in title matches, and we don't know why. If this is fun, man, seeing Rhea Ripley run down to save Iyo, what are we going to get, guys? Guys, are we going to get Iyo and Rhea versus Roxy and Raquel? Can we get that tag match? Is this honestly fun? You know what would be more fun? Watching Omos try to fit into a Prius. That's at least entertaining. Hour 1 ends with Penta pinning Xavier Woods. Good wrestling is not my issue. Not giving a solitary fuck is my issue. So no, Penta versus Xavier Woods. To say I had any interest in this, it would be the same interest I had in catapulting myself into the middle of traffic when a Mack truck is coming from the right and a school bus from the left. Dive bomb right into the middle. I've had the same amount of interest watching a Penta Xavier Woods matchup. And next week, you're going to get Penta versus Kofi Kingston. They already announced it. That's what I mean about lazy. Below toddler level creative. And then the following week, you know it's going to be Penta and Grayson Waller, because Grayson Waller is all of a sudden in New Day's corner. Is he their manager? Is he their new Biff? And then you had Finn Balor and Mickey D's of the Judgment Day versus How to Train Your Dragon Ball Z Lee and Mr. Iguana Man. Balor pins Dragon Ball Z Lee. Golf clap from Delphia. That's right, this match got a golf clap. Surprised it even got that? Nobody was interested in this, and by this point of the show, even Philadelphia wanted a nap. Vikingo shows up. Triple A's Vikingo. Another golf clap. Philadelphia didn't care. Just saw an Iguana Man. Now you're seeing Vikingo. This company is so lazy, it's only a matter of time before half of every Monday night is going to be AAA participants. Let's try to get some 5 stars and put out some bangers. This was their attempt to get everybody to go, Flash is awesome. It was Iguana Man. It was Vikingo. They must have been shocked in gorilla position when nobody was chanting this is awesome. They sat on their thumbs, and at least some of them gave you a golf clap when this match was over. At least some of them gave you a golf clap when Vikingo came out there. And by the way, when it was all said and done, 60 seconds later, Vikingo was looking up at the lights, destroyed by Mickey D's and Balor and Dominic Mysterio. So that's embarrassing. You show up like an unpredictable badass, and you wind up flat on your ass. Thanks for showing up, Vikingo. Up next, Becky Lynch versus Nattie Neidhart. Becky Lynch taps out Nattie, 0 crowd reaction. That was rough to watch, rough to listen to, because I do feel that Becky Lynch has been putting in some of her best work of her career. It's not her fault that WWE continuously hands her a garbage bag and says cipher through and try to recycle what you can, because that's what they're doing. Nikki Bella would come out for a save because after the match, Becky attacked Nattie, I guess. But Becky didn't have anybody else, did she? And at least Nattie had Maxine. So I don't even know. Yeah, the heel would have been outnumbered, and just like the vision of dumbasses. They were outnumbered at the end of the show, so it didn't make sense. Here, wouldn't it be Nikki and Nattie and Maxine and only one Becky? I forgot how that played out, but Nikki Bella ended up coming to the ring, and I gotta be honest with you, as I always am, that was one of the brightest parts of probably the only bright part of this show was hearing Nikki Bella's music. If you would have said BC in August of 2025, Nikki Bella is gonna be the best part of Monday Night Raw, or at least get you semi-awake when you hear the music hits, I would not have had that on my bingo card. But her music hit, and I was like, oh, thank goodness, Nikki Bella. Like, somebody just come out that will bring some type of fire. I was hoping she did the little, her little twirl at the top of the ramp. You can look, but you can't touch. But no, she was running down to save Nattie, so she couldn't just stay up at the ramp and dance. Although, there was several years ago, I don't know if you guys remember this, Matt Hardy was getting his ass whooped by several individuals. His ass whooped. Jeff Hardy's music plays. Jeff comes down for the save, although he just forgot to come down. So he gets to the top of the ramp. His brother's getting destroyed. Jeff is supposed to fly down there to help. Jeff must have just forgot. Thought he was down coming out for a match. Jeff was always on cloud nine. I never knew what Jeff was thinking. I don't think Jeff knows what he was thinking. So Jeff comes out while Matt's getting his ass whooped, and Jeff just starts working the crowd at the ramp. To the left, goes to the right. He's getting them all amplified. Matt's getting his ass whooped. Finally, Jeff realizes it, and Jeff starts hightailing it. He's like, oh yeah, I came down here to help my brother. But no, Nikki Bella bypassed the twirls, and she just ran right to the ring to help out Nattie. So anyway, Nikki Bella, man, I can't believe I'm saying this. Thank goodness for Nikki Bella. And this crowd needed something because again, Becky Lynch and Nattie, wow. If Mickey D's and Balor versus Dragon Ball Z Lee and Iguana Man didn't put them to sleep, this match absolutely put them down and out. Nikki Bella's music at least made them open their, what? Rusev and Sheamus are backstage. Guess what they're doing, guys? This is immaculate creative from Paul Levesque, McMahon, Hunter Hearst, Helmsley. I can't believe how uber creative this dude is. He had Sheamus and Rusev backstage brawling. What? They were brawling backstage. Adam Pearce is flipping out, turning red. He's screaming, I've had it. In Paris, Sheamus Rusev in a Donnybrook match. It was so corny, bro. It was so stupid. That's what Pierce is screaming. He's so livid, but he has the intuition to make this a Donnybrook match. What the fuck is a Donnybrook match? Donnybrook match. That's what he came up with. Gee, is it gonna have some kendo sticks? Steel chairs and Slim Jim tables? Naomi was up next. This was the only talking point of the night. Naomi relinquishes her championship. Her world title is vacated, middle of the ring, as Naomi announces she is indeed pregnant. And WWE tried to piss on this every which way they could. You could have just had Naomi in character doing what she did last night, and I am so glad that she stayed in character when she was in the middle of that ring, by the way. But WWE went out of their way to try to piss on this. They first wanted to announce it on Stephanie's podcast. So they were teasing clips of Stephanie's podcast, so you already knew what the announcement was. And then they played on the Tron. So Naomi is in the ring, but she has a clip play on the Tron of Trinity Fatu and mid-Jim Uso on the couch doing Stephanie's podcast and announcing that she is indeed pregnant. So Trinity Fatu announces it, and you see Trinity in tears, and it's emotional, and they're celebrating, and everyone's having a good time, and Steph's laughing it up, and then we cut to the ring, and Naomi is now addressing us about the pregnancy, and Naomi is in character. She gives Adam Pearce Das Boot. She says that her hormones are dancing like a disco, and that this is the only way that any woman in that locker room was going to get that title off of her. She talked about how now the bloodline will live on with the diabolical laugh. That was a good line. Naomi did last night what she's been doing for months. Kicking ass with this new character. Because you got to remember, Naomi is now at the height of her career after over 10 years. She's finally where she wanted to be. And then, boop, snap of a finger, blink of an eye. She's pregnant. And again, great for them. I'm pretty sure this supersedes and trumps anything career-wise. But it's wild how timing works, right? So you don't want to obviously squash that. You want to protect that heel character. So I'm so glad that she was a heel while she was in the middle of the ring. What I can't stand is you just had Trinity Fatu announce it on the Tron moments before while Naomi's in the ring. You made it a part of the segment. There's no reason for that. Just to plug Stephanie's stupid podcast? That's what I mean about this company. They're willing to absolutely take a shit on all of these characters. They're putting the real life versions in front of the characters. The characters in the show mean nothing anymore. We gotta promote Hunter Hearst Helmsley's new show, Unreal. It's where he exposes all the characters and all the tricks and the business at large. We gotta promote his wife, Stephanie McMahon's new podcast. It's where we break all the good storylines and break characters. You guys know there was no reason. We needed to find out via the damn podcast clip on the show. And then we cut to Naomi. And then Naomi is now in character telling us she's pregnant. Which is it? We have to stop with this blurring of the lines. We get it's 2025. We get that WWE, especially Hunter Hearst Helmsley, is trying to take the last little piece of kayfabe that is still in existence, which is always going to be needed if pro wrestling is going to work going forward. I cannot believe this company goes out of their way to try to take anything special and try to ruin it. You could have just had a kick-ass story with that. Naomi in character announces this. Damn, when she comes back, she gonna be ready to rock. But no, they gotta show you the sensitive side, the real life side. First, we're gonna show you Trinity announcing it. People can watch that on social. If they want to listen and see that, they can watch Stephanie's podcast. This shouldn't be part of the show. What Naomi did in character, that's the way to do it if you're going to make a public pregnancy announcement. I said it earlier. Back in the day, you would just have the character written off TV. Steve Austin would ride her with a monster truck right over her. Boom. Where's Trish? She's gone for a year and a half. I don't know. Steve Austin ran her over. She comes back a year and a half later. You find out she was pregnant. Hey, good for you, Trish. Badass storyline. Nowadays, we have to announce it. We have to get in the middle of the ring like Becky Lynch and so many others, and they have to tell her, I'm pregnant, so everyone can go, you deserve it. At least Naomi was in character. Honestly, that was really cool to see. The Stephanie McMahon thing is so bizarre. You want to plug the podcast, that's fine. Why that was it? They had to make that the actual announcement, man. I just don't know what movie you would possibly watch. You guys remember Jerry Maguire, Renee Zellweger, and Tom Cruise? Could you imagine if they stopped the movie to literally say, guys, we've been dating in real life, and by the way, we're pregnant. So thank you, everybody. Okay, we're going to resume the movie right now. Could you imagine being in the theater and you're like, what just happened? Why did they break away from the movie to tell us that they're pregnant? And now they're going back to the movie where they're playing the relationship. What's happening? That's what you're asking us to do. It's always wild, those, and I put this in parentheses, the fans that are like, oh, guys, it's all right, man. They're all just human beings. It's a television show. Just a television show, man. Okay, then in what show or movie would they just break character while the show's being recorded? What? Are you thinking? This is the only show known in existence where it's trying to make their fan base bipolar. It's going out of their way to confuse their fan base. It's no longer blurring reality. It's pretty clear that Hunter Hearst Helmsley and Stephanie McMahon, they just want it to be reality television now. That's all it is. They want to show you that they're the ones pulling the strings of all these characters. Trinity Fatu, emotional and crying and celebrating with Stephanie and Jim Uso, and then moments later she has to be in they're telling her, we're going to cut back to you, you're going to be in character now, and you're going to kick out Adam Pearce. Oh, which one is it? We just saw you crying and celebrating. Now you're fierce. Ferocious. Anyway, congratulations to Naomi, Trinity Fatu, and Jim Uso. Mid-Jim slipped his Slim Jim and made Naomi glow. Good for them. I'm glad she stayed in character. And for WWE, they tried to ruin the moment, but guess what? The show was so bad, they didn't ruin the moment because it's still the only thing being talked about. So I don't know what that says. But these wrestlers need to protect their character now more than ever. That's what I will say. These wrestlers have to start protecting their character. I don't care if it's 2025. I'm done with these are real humans playing these characters. Man, real life supersedes the storylines on these shows. That's all we should be watching. No show should exist showing anything to the contrary. Get rid of Unreal and all of that bullshit. Because unlike any other show and any other movie, this is continuous. This is a continuous thing. For instance, when you saw CM Punk and Seth Rollins going over their Elimination Chamber match on the show Unreal, remember they were going over all their spots? That's not just behind the scenes after the movie is over, is it? No, that's not the bloopers. No, that's literally an ongoing storyline, and we're watching them go over everything. That's like watching the bloopers and the behind the scenes of a movie before the movie actually plays. You wouldn't watch the behind the scenes before the movie plays. So we don't need to see CM Punk and Seth Rollins going over their match if we're supposed to believe that they have this ongoing feud and they're going to have all these other matches. The whole point is, can't you just care about it? The company needs to just care about this shit. Is it so important to see CM Punk and Seth Rollins rehearsing their matches? Is that so important? More important than the actual story and characters themselves and making your audience suspend disbelief so that they can enter the wacky world of pro wrestling. But the company doesn't want to do that anymore. Hunter Hearst Helmsley's WWE is just expose. The main event, Extreme Rules, my ass. Yeeterman versus unpredictable badass. Ozilla and LA Knight would interfere. LA Knight would disappear. Just boop, gone. Ozilla would return to ringside. Rollins and Punk would interfere. They would fight around ringside. I don't know. It was LA Knight and Bronson, and then you had Punk and Rollins. And then Roman Reigns appears. And this is where Bronson Reed was standing by himself. I don't know where LA Knight went, but again, there was too many faces. There's 4 faces and 3 heels. So one of them had to disappear. They chose LA Knight. I told you guys, it's going to be LA Knight most likely taking the fall in Paris. That's why he's even been plucked from SmackDown to Raw, to get into this match so that they can protect Jason Yeeterman and protect CM Punk. Keep the title on Rollins, who was the odd man out, LA Knight, and he was the odd man out here. Just disappears. Roman Reigns comes out, takes out Ozilla. That's I tell you. And the show ends with Bronson Reed and Roman Reigns yelling about Paris. This is so stupid. Like, that's what they had on their mind? Paris! Yeah, Paris! And the show goes off the air. So, I mean, they have devalued Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns, they did what many would call the unthinkable. They turned a dude that's been forced down people's throats for over 5 years that they didn't even want him on the TV. And they turned him into a global sensation, a superstar. And Hunter Hearst Helmsley is doing everything in his power to ruin Roman Reigns. Because now when he comes out, he does not feel prestigious anymore. He's playing around with the vision of dumbasses. That's been his 2025. You want to keep him away from a championship. That's great. This? Oh, man. I tell you. Congrats to Naomi. It's the only thing that was on this show that's even being talked about. I can't believe I went this long on this review. And most of it was just frustration with the product and Hunter Hearst Helmsley. I don't even know if he even... If you told me he was still on vacation, I would not doubt that for 1 second. Imagine needing a vacation from doing all the shows and the podcasts and the voiceovers and going to the Indiana Pacer games and hanging out with celebrities. And that's Hunter Hearst Helmsley. He doesn't spend a damn moment in the office. Vince McMahon would work 25 hours out of a 24-hour day. Hunter Hearst Helmsley, he cannot put himself in there for 1 hour out of the day. So what's he do when he's producing the worst television we've ever seen? He needs a vacation. You couldn't tell a WWE show with Helmsley on or off vacation because they're all horrible anyway. Until next time, there will be that next time. BC in the unit, we're saying check you. 44 dive, that's a wrap. Unit salute.